I know for these players, Dykman had a good run 2 weeks ago at the Invitational. Jadine, of course, has a runner-up Invitational finish of her own. Played the finals against Liam Lonergan in Season 2 of last year.
And you got to wonder if Dykman knows that Jadine is on Blue-White Monument. Don't know how well these two know each other, if they know deck lists. Jadine generally known for playing these green-black decks. Dykman certainly is a deck tailor-made for a mirror match.
Yeah, Black-Green Energy was the deck she used to win the Standard Classic 2 weeks ago. Switched over, though, to White-Blue Monument. Looks like Jadine going to take a mulligan here. Looks like Steven keeping a 6-card hand for Jadine. It's going to 5.
Mulligan heavy affair.
Yeah, Black-Green can mulligan pretty well. The deck's so concentrated on 2. I guess Steven's deck list less of that, though, than you'd normally expect.
Right. Got some 3s in that Dream Stealer. 2 main deck Kalitas as well. Some slower stuff here.
Yeah, scry to the top for Steven. Bottom, Jadine's close. Bottom for her as well. And there we go, Dykman on the play. First thing, we're going to land check on both players. Jadine starts on a Thraben Inspector. Steven looks like he has Servant to the Conduit in the opener. Second land for it. Top card. He did not have the second land until he drew it, but it was Blooming Marsh.
Very fortunate.
Yeah, now that'll make the Servant to the Conduit for him.
And that Servant, that's just going to live. The white-blue deck can't deal with that. So things should be going pretty well for Dykman from here.
Yeah, that is an advantage against the white-blue deck. It does not have a way to answer a mana creature, so decks that can use extra mana will do pretty well as a result. Second Inspector from Jadine, second clue. Next land is Westvale Abbey. Chose that play over cracking the clue, so it probably has the third land taken care of. And Dykman hits land again. Aether Hub and Swamp in hand.
And a couple good ways to progress the board here. Dream Stealer in his hand, that one's not looking great, but he does have a Nissa Voices Zendikar that he could get on the table.
Swings with Servant to the Conduit, offering a double block. Jadine declines, goes to 18, and here is Dream Stealer. It's one of the cards out of Hour of Devastation. You mentioned it here. 1/2 Menace for 3.
I really like that attack with the Servant to the Conduit. On its face, it looks like you want to throw both Thraben Inspectors in the way, but that would allow the menacing Dream Stealer to start getting hits in.
Right. Jadine will crack a clue. Picks up, looks like another Westvale Abbey. Not ideal.
Yeah, still off blue
land.
mana.
Yeah. Land 5 here for Steven.
You're getting a little bit flooded.
But he does have Nissa Voice of Zendikar. That could really help with this Dream Stealer. Just antheming the team. Jadine either would discard 2 or have to lose an Inspector.
Looks like he does have this second Dream Stealer in hand as well.
Ooh. So there's some advantage to playing Nissa right now or committing another Dream Stealer and then getting Jadine's whole hand on the following turn. See which way he wants to go. Dream Stealer is this interesting card in the deck. It's actually not very scary on its surface without a card like Nissa. They're both 2-ofs. But together, they're very strong. He'll go with Nissa, -2, pump the team.
Dream Stealer has some matchups where it can be quite good on his own. You only see 2 in here because there are matchups where it's not.
Yeah, this is a matchup where the card's probably not good, but this game is going to work out for him. Jadine either has to double block and lose an Inspector, or she'll lose 2 cards from her hand.
She's looking at what discarding 2 cards would look like here. There goes Metallic Rebuke and Angel of Invention. No blue mana, no second white mana, no fourth land. Those ones weren't getting cast anytime soon.
Both Inspectors swing at Nissa. And Selfless Spirit as a blocker. Jadine lost one of them in the attack to the Servant of the Conduit. Rest of her hand is going to go here to that Dream Stealer. And here's a swing with both. For 5, Jadine will go to 11. Dump the rest of the cards. 2 Angels of Invention. And for Steven, he'll just make another Dream Stealer. Now, at this point now, they're just below average size creatures. But the damage has been done.
Right, he's ahead on board. He's already hit Jadine to make her discard 4 cards after she mulliganed to 5.
Oketra's Monument for Jadine. Swing Selfless Spirit.
So there's a sequence of draws that can look pretty good after that Oketra's Monument if Dykman peels some blanks off the top. And yeah, still 2 lands in his hand.
Quagmire activates, and Dykman will swing the team. No good blocks here for Jadine. Just that 1/2. She could chump block a 2 power or maybe a 3. Jump blocks the 3, takes 5, goes to 6. And just these Dream Stealers with Menace likely to be enough. She'll crack a clue just to be sure. And we are on to game 2. So yeah, a mulligan to 5 certainly getting punished by the card Dream Stealer. And Dykman up 1-0 here.
Yep. Yeah, Jadine hopefully looking to have more cards on the post-sideboard games. As we go to the sideboard, for Jadine's side, we have 3 Gideon Allies Endikar, 3 Negate, 2 Archangel Avacyn, 2 Dusk Dawn, 2 Fairgrounds Warden, 2 Fragmentize, and an Evasive Surgery. Dusk Dawn's frequently very good against these green-black decks, but it's actually kind of awkward against the build that Dykman's brought to the table.
Well, how so?
Well, he's got Servant of the Conduit, Winding Constrictor, Glintsleeve Siphoner, Dream Stealer. Until he activates Nissa, a lot of the stuff is just smaller than what Dusk actually kills.
Yeah, it is interesting because he has so many Planeswalkers on top of that. The card could be dead in some of these games.
Mm-hmm.
Now, looking at some of the sideboards, I guess I do want to look at Steven's sideboard. Are there more 3 powers he might board in? On the surface, it doesn't look like it.
No, there's no creatures at all, in fact. So that is interesting. You might see those come in, and you could see some games where they're really awkward.
Yeah, you expect things like Kali Toss in the sideboard. Steven's not playing any Gear Hulks either.
Right. Does have a couple Kali Toss and 3 Tyler's Tracker in the main deck, so it does hit all of those, and that's all well and good. The best card that Jadine has on her sideboard, just if you have the deck list available, those Fairgrounds Wardens, just to cleanly deal with some kind of creature, force him to have a removal spell.
Yeah, Archangel Avacyn can be good in this matchup as well.
That one looks pretty powerful.
Looking on Steven's side, a full set of Transgress the Mind, 2 Lost Legacy, 2 Crook of Condemnation, 2 Natural State, 2 Yahenni's Expertise, a Murder, a To the Slaughter, and an Appetite for the Unnatural.
So Yahenni's Expertise is pretty solid in this matchup. Clean up all the tokens that come in off the monument, maybe get a spell queller that has one of your spells under it.
I especially like it because Steven has upped the curve of his deck. You know, more Tyler's Trackers, more Lilianas, more Nissas. When the card you're placing in for free off Expertise is 3 mana exactly, the card, then it's a better card than normal. And I think in Steven's deck, this is a pretty nice card to have.
Right. The spot removal is fine. You know, Murder has some spots, in particular because Jadine's build, she's playing Angel of Invention instead of Cloud Blazer. So you can get that and just clean it up nicely with the 1 card. There's an argument for going for some of this artifact removal to hit Oketra's Monument, but things like Natural State are so much worse than a Braid, where that's the only role that it serves.
Yeah. I mean, Dykman's main deck, I would want to get away from the card Dream Stealer, even though it won him the first game. Right. A 1/2 Menace for 3, Jadine can double block it, and 1/2's not big.
And even though it did get in and make Jadine discard 4 cards, against that mulligan to 5 with awkward mana, any creature with power and toughness would have done it.
Right, and I mean, yeah, it did well because she was on 5.
Right.
We're going to get ready for a second game here. The winner in the top 8. Now, more about the top 8. For those of you watching us on Twitch, for the SCG Tour, we have our Twitch subscription program, and we're coming up along the quarterfinals. So how this works is at the end of this round, we take a 1-hour break here on stream before we start the quarterfinals. Players, the tournament needs to conclude. The judging staff needs to take care of that. Deck checks happen for all the players. So when we go off the air, there'll be a 1-hour break. Halfway through that break, after half an hour, we open up voting to all subscribers. We'll post the bracket, we'll post the decks, and you can vote for the players and lists you want to see. Voting will be open for 15 minutes, and then we'll resume coverage then. You can subscribe now to join part of the voting, twitch.tv/SCGTour.
Yeah, we'll see exactly how the top 8 shapes up. We know so far we have a couple blue-white monument decks. That deck is pretty fun to watch, in my opinion. We also have Teamer Emerge in the hands of Zan Sayed locked in. That deck is really sweet.
Yeah, Michael Hamilton looking to be good to be in. He was the 8-0 player with 4-color control. We have a lot of archetypes possibly getting in here. Among the decks playing here for top 8, we have 4-color control. We have blue-red, mono-red aggro. We have monument, black-green energy. A lot of different archetypes here on our first tournament with Hour of Devastation.
And that's frequently how it's going to be week 1. And this standard's been weird. There's been more shakeups than you would typically see in a standard format.
What I'm interested in is if going through this tournament, white-blue wins the tournament, crushes in the top 8. I'm interested to see what people are going to come up with to fight it. Because while it's a good deck, it does seem to me like the type of deck that you can metagame to beat.
Yes.
It's playing too many narrow cards to be unbeatable. Both players have kept on 6 here for the second game. No plays in the first 2 turns for Jadine. We'll see what Steven can play out. Looks like it'll be Servant to the Conduit again. He's brought in Natural State out of his sideboard. Pretty narrow. It only hits...
We have talked time and again about how the Oketra's Monument games are just so vastly different from the non-Monument games.
Yeah. And here, Jadine, an aggressive move indeed. Fairgrounds Warden taking care of Servant to the Conduit. But you're right, and I guess Jadine's deck also tends to play Stasis Snare.
Sure.
So there's other targets.
Sometimes you can hit a clue with it.
Now, Steven heavy on lands here. Natural State, 2 more lands, and Walking Ballista, all his remaining cards. So he will make Ballista on 1. It looks like he has a second Ballista, too. That makes more sense.
Again, as a reminder, as you are heading to your seats, please do not offer...
And no mana troubles this game. Jadine all set up with 4 lands. Double white, double blue. Like it's triple white, but double white's all that she ever really needs. But she's all set up. Has a choice between Spell Queller or committing more to the board on her turn.
Gideon, Ally of Zendikar is going to be the play. Make a Knight Ally, pass the turn. Great spot.
In the face of just Ballista on 1, yeah. I like Gideon quite a lot.
Steven will draw Glintsleeve Siphoner. Plenty of energy in the reserves.
Which is located to the right of the main stage.
So he may be able to start some card draw with that, but he is behind an onboard Gideon that he cannot threaten. One of the strengths here, Gideon. It's Gideon in Standard, still a great card.
Yeah, turn 4 on the play, real tough to beat that one. And Dykman's list not really presenting a lot of the threats out of most black-green builds that are better against Gideon. You know, he has no Gearhulks at the top of his curve. He's not playing a Delirium package that would have, you know, say, Ishkana to the Slaughter that could potentially clear the Gideon out relatively easily.
Yeah, sometimes you'd have a card like Never to Return. In a lot of ways, the way you threaten Gideon is by having a good-sized creature on the board. And his deck's not great at dealing with it that way.
Yep.
You have 50 minutes. You may begin.
Gideon in particular, with the way he's built his mid-range deck, could be problematic. He's got a lot of good mid-range planeswalkers, but none of them attack other planeswalkers very well. So play Glintsleeve Siphoner, move up to 3 energy. Decides if he wants to put another walking ballista down. Looks like he will. And can do nothing though but pass.
And with those being the plays on turn 4, Jadine has to feel pretty comfortable sitting back and developing her board with Gideon. She does have to be concerned about the ballistas growing over time.
Sheffet Dunes played by Jadine. You mentioned that some of these desert lands. Jadine actually playing 3 copies of the Dunes in her list this weekend.
It can combine really well with Oketra's Monument.
I guess with Monument or with Gideon, if it stays around for long enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these cards that just kind of go wide on their own over time. Antheming your team is pretty powerful with those.
Going to just swing the Knight ally. No plus on the Gideon, which makes it look like we're going to see another Knight ally. And she'll play Hanvir Militia Captain, make an ally as her 4th creature to pass the turn.
Gets to leave up Spell Queller on top of that.
That's really nice. The Militia Captain's going to flip unless Steven uses those ballistas to shoot down a creature. Spends energy. He gets Grasp of Darkness, actually, so that's a nicer way to take care of a creature.
That is much better than throwing away ballistas.
He can, this will be an interesting choice. He can use the Grasp to get rid of Fairgrounds Warden and get back his Servant, or he can go directly at the Militia Captain.
If he goes for Grasp, there's a chance that Jadine just spell quells that and makes us a lot more awkward. And I imagine that Jadine would make that play.
Hard not to.
Dykman doesn't know that it's there.
Yeah, but he doesn't really have a way to play. He might seem play into it because he can't play around it.
Yeah. Yeah, that natural state is not helping him this game.
Yeah, an interesting one to board in. I get the idea, because we talked about just how good monuments are in this matchup. And maybe he has some cards in his main that he really doesn't like. So I understand boarding it in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a high, if you're going to board it in, it's a high-risk strategy. You know, you just have to accept that you might just be down a card.
It can pay off in a big way. A lot of times the Monument deck sequences based on the fact that it does have Monument. It sits on creatures that it could have cast on turn 2 and 3, cast a Monument, and that would be a great opening.
Servant to the Conduit cast from Steven. And you see, hand on head here, I think part of him knows that Spell Queller is going to get him. And he's thinking, can he do anything about it? Yeah, he'll just pass. He's identified that she has Spell Queller.
Though once your plan becomes passed and the Militia Captain just flips.
Yeah, she's just going to flip it.
This doesn't get better over time.
Upkeep, trigger, and now Steven's going to use the Grasp. So figured if you have Queller, at least I'm going to make you spend your mana on your own turn. Interestingly, he goes for Fairgrounds Warden, not for Militia Captain.
Yeah, this makes his board a little bit wider. Doesn't do a ton against the Gideon, but the Servant does tap for mana.
Yeah, and she's going to quell it anyway. It's just too good not to.
Yeah.
Militia Captain will then flip into Westvale Cult Leader. Now Steven has a Fatal Push. A little bit of Hollywooding here. I don't believe he has the push, but he's going to make her think about it.
He's got a couple ballistas.
Oh, he's thinking about using the ballistas. Okay. That's a big cost. That's a lot of respect for Militia Captain.
Fear. I would
call
it fear.
Yep, and he's going to make the trade. I like it. Good play. That's a really expensive play that he had to make.
And now the matter of the Gideon. Dykman's in all kinds of trouble.
That's the problem, right? That Jadine had a turn 4 Gideon on the play, and Dykman's board did not contest it.
Yeah.
And eventually, that's going to add up. And we see 2 knights. Jadine's about to get a 3rd one or an attack, her choice. There we go. Gideon's going to tick up. 5/5. Some Knight allies. Fairgrounds Warden. Spell Queller cannot attack this turn. We're going to untap that one.
And with the ballistas off the table now, it's a lot safer to just get aggressive with Gideon.
Yeah. Steven does not have enough damage to kill him to remove the Planeswalker on the swing back. So he attacks it for 4, removes all his own blockers. Fine.
Yeah. Well, he would if he fired up the Quagmire as well, but he's just
Fine.
tapping all his mana and all of his creatures. Yeah,
all your mana
that.
and all your blockers. Yeah, I accept.
That's a lot of resources.
I think that would just be onboard lethal. Yeah, because if he takes all this damage, he's going to 7. And he actually can't make that play.
So that's settled.
And he's going to try to maybe trade away some of these. If he had a card like Never to Return in his list, he could be playing toward that draw. He does not, though. And it looks like what he wants to do then is keep Glint-Sleeve Siphoner around to give him some extra draws. He'll have it block and have Servant block an ally token. It looks like taking 8. Hope Siphoner to draw him into something. I don't see a clean answer to the Planeswalker.
No, he has the 1 to the Slaughter in his sideboard, but he does not have Delirium, just creature artifact in the graveyard.
Draws Tireless Tracker, draws Transgress the Mind. Gets that extra card off Glint-Sleeve Siphoner. Here will be Transgress. Might as well get some information if you can't get the game. Spell Queller and Angel of Invention. Well, he knows she's kept in the Angels now. This is an innovation that Jadine Klomparens and Emma Handy were playing this weekend. And see, it's been going pretty well, actually, for Jadine at 11-3. They're playing this over Cloud Blazers. He'll exile it. Tireless Tracker's the play. Jadine's fine with that.
Shrug.
Yeah. It wasn't a Ruinous Path. It wasn't a Never to Return. That's fine. This Ruinous Path's still in Standard, isn't it?
It in fact is.
Wow. We can't play Heroes Downfall, right?
No.
Okay.
No, that one's very much not in Standard.
I was gonna say, it seems like that was from a while ago.
Naming Never to Return, Never to Return. It's kind of a nod to the fact that we won't be getting Heroes Downfall back.
You don't think so? We're not going to get that at instant speed?
With how much they want you to play Planeswalkers, I feel like they weren't happy with that design.
Yeah, we don't get much of that. To the Slaughter was the functional reprint of that. It's a little... makes you work for it. Chef Dunes from Jadine, a swing from all the attackers. She did that with the confidence of someone who knows that attack is lethal. And it was. Jadine takes the second game to even things up.
All right, deciding game 3 here. This is for the top 8.
So Jadine evens it up 1 apiece here. Gideon, Alev, Zendikar. Playing 3 out of the sideboard here. Showing some real strength in the deck. I'm interested in whether or not she's going to keep them in on the draw.
They get quite a bit worse.
Yeah.
This is also the last call. Well,
they're going to look at their sideboards again as they go toward game number 3. Now, 2 weekends ago, we mentioned Stephen Dykman had a late invitational run, and for Jadine, she actually won a classic. But the highlight of the weekend was the win in the invitational from Brian Koval. He is your Season 1 champion here on the SCG Tour in 2017, winning with some great decks. Death and Taxes in Modern and Colossus in Standard, 2 real off-the-radar decks. But on winning the tournament, as he had his art placed on a token of his choice, and he chose the Monastery Mentor token. A lot of these, he's a big fan of the Eternal formats.
Yes. This is a card I like having in my Vintage Cube decks as well.
All right, you can get this token. Will be released at the end of the month. They'll start shipping in orders from StarCityGames.com beginning July 30th. It'll also be available all of Season 2 in Opens and Classics, starting with our Syracuse Open. That's the first Open in August. So you'll be able to get these in just a few weeks and be available all season. So find those on the SCG Tour. So now, having picked up second game for Jadine Klomparens, she does not have an invitational win to her name, but does have an invitational runner-up finish. The 27-year-old from New Britain, Connecticut, 2 open top 8s and that 1 invitational top 8, almost defeating Liam Lonergan's Elf deck in Modern.
Large number of social media followers that don't know who she is. Love this. because of the
Wow,
love
but
team, Jadine, I have no idea.
But our fans of the Filipino singers, this is great. This is a great piece of info. A lot of followers are fans of Filipino singers James Reed and Nadine Lustry, who so it's like the Brad Jelena sort of thing, where it's like Jadine, you know.
Right.
Oh, that's so good.
Still loves her name and has not become jaded
to
wow. puns. Do you get it?
Oh,
do you get it? And once had a gun pulled on her by a 9-year-old.
Okay, that one's scarier.
Yeah.
All right.
Gun in the hand of anybody. Kind of an uncomfortable thing.
He must not have liked his pizza.
Well, he didn't want to pay for it.
Okay, yep, that's fine. That's fine. You can just have the pizza.
It's
not worth it.
I guess I have some questions about that. Was it the person that ordered the pizza, or was just there was this 9-year-old hanging around with a gun?
Okay. I don't know. I'm not sure I would have stayed to ask those questions.
Did the pizza get delivered?
I just would have given them the pizza.
Did the pizza get there fine? I just need to know that the pizza's okay.
Wherever the pizza was at that point, that's where it ended up. This is game number 3. For the first time, both players keeping 7s. So Steven will be on the play for the decider. Remember, this one, the winner in top 8, the loser will be out. And turn 2 from Steven, going to be Transgress the Mind. 2 copies of Transgress and Winding Constrictor in his hand. We look at Jadine's hand. 4 more lands, Oketra's Monument, Spell Queller, Dusk to Dawn. Both players really gearing up for the big spell fight here.
And these are 3 excellent spells. Given the way a lot of the games play out, there's a strong temptation to take the Monument. There's only the Spell Queller as creatures at this point in time.
I'm concerned, if you're a Jadine fan, you'd be concerned here. So Steven's hand has a 2nd copy of Transgress the Mind in it. He can set up a board where he just takes care of these.
Yeah, exiles the Monument, exiles the Spell Queller with the next one, and just plays around Dusk Dawn. And his deck is relatively capable of that. Looks like creatures in hand. He has Glint Sleeve, Siphoner, and Winding Constrictor. On their own, they're not going to play into Dusk. So that works out just fine. And yeah, starts with the Monument here. And you got to imagine after the 2nd Transgress, it is going to be Dusk Dawn left over. And because Transgress does exile, Jadine wouldn't be able to use Dusk Dawn to get it back in any capacity. And another land, looked like another Sheffet Dunes off the top for Jadine. So this is becoming a pretty precarious situation. As we go back to Dykman, see if he does go for that discard spell. I think about playing a 2-drop though, get on the board. On the following turn, he'll be able to cast 2 2-mana spells.
Sure. That does take, mentioned Monument gone then. A win on one of our back-a match from Jonathan Job. So despite losing to Ben Weinberg in the win in last round, we're going to have mono red in the top 8. Congratulations to him.
All right. That deck is sweet. Congratulations to Jonathan Job. We'll see you in the elimination rounds. Dykman really stressing over this play. Don't think he has a removal cell for the Spell Queller, so I think he just really want to get that out of the hand.
I'm going to play Tireless Tracker. I mean, there's some advantage to this, right? Jadine didn't have the answer. If he sneaks this past Spell Queller, this card could be great.
Yeah, this one, I did not spot this one. This makes a lot more sense. I thought he was thinking about Winding Constrictor or another 2-drop.
I think the play he's gone for is Tireless Tracker, and next turn land, Transgress the Mind away the Dusk Dawn, and then crack a clue. Jadine does make a backup Oketra's Monument. That was a good pickup for her. It feels like he's got to get the Dusk Dawn out if he's going to use this Tireless Tracker.
Yeah. Well, this is just the window for the Transgress. Going forward, that's just under the Spell Queller.
And if you looked at the draw there, Dreamstealer actually has stayed in for Dykman.
That one not likely to matter too much in this match. Tracker comes across for 3 and Dreamstealer follow-up. Another land off the top for Jadine.
Yeah,
really
it's not
unfortunate string of draws.
Yeah, and you almost feel like she's going to have to use. She needs to try to. Can't block Dream Stealer. Her whole hand's going to go again.
Well, discarding 1 or 2 lands is no problem from this position.
Yeah. Another chef at Dunes. This was a risk here by Steven to let her untap with the Monument. You know, if she started chaining off cards like Bygone Bishop, could be very strong here.
Yeah, if she had Bishop on this turn, leave up Spell Queller, it's really powerful.
Yeah.
And even just the Spell Queller is a little bit problematic. Jadine thinking about just dusking away the tracker.
Yeah, I don't mind that play. Destroys the Tireless Tracker.
She doesn't care about getting hit by the Dream Stealer for 1 once.
Yeah, for 1 once, that's fine. Murder the pickup for Dykman. She's got extra lands. We'll see Transgress. It's likely going to take her Spell Queller. I think that's the only card she has.
Yeah, I don't know if there's options there. Yeah,
Nope,
there's 3 lands.
Just lands. All right, Spell Queller's gone. Jadine's writing down her hand for him. Sure, let's keep this moving here. I'll write it down. You just keep playing. Hits, she'll discard away the 3rd Chef at Dunes. No reason to play that.
That one not coming up in this game.
Jadine's going to have to start playing off the top of the deck here. Bygone Bishop seems like the best draw. Certainly not basic planes. Where it's going to be hard is that Steven's hand actually has her top decks covered pretty well. Murder is a very nice card to have when fighting against Jadine's possible top decks.
Walking Ballista also really powerful here. He has a Constrictor. He'll be able to play that for 3 on this turn.
Right.
That covers a couple Monument tokens. Dream Stealer will cause Jadine to discard planes. Glint Sleeve Siphoner ramps the energy up to 3 because of the Winding Constrictor. Dykman considering sitting on the Ballista until he can make it with more mana.
Yeah, it would be 2 right now, thanks to Winding Constrictor.
You want to get the Siphoner on the table so you can start drawing extra cards immediately. No pressing need for the Ballista just yet.
Yeah, he has a clue to crack.
Exactly, yeah.
If he's going to crack the clue, might as well do it now. He hasn't made a land drop. And he's going to end up just going for the Ballista instead.
It's
understandable, yeah.
3 p.m. standard.
And Jadine down to what might be one of her last draws here.
3 p.m. standard challenge, round 2.
Looks like, yeah, West Valley Abbey was the pickup.
It's another land. I guess it's better than another basic, but it's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
You see Steven drawing extra cards here. It's looking like Steven's going to get this one with black-green energy. He'll improve to 12 and 3. We look at our standings. That is going to be good enough for a spot in the top 8. Just 2 attacks away here. We now know 5 players, assuming he wins this. We'll have Jonathan Rossum on Blue-White Monument, Ben Weinberg on the same deck. Zan Sayed is on Teamer Emerge. Jonathan Joe playing mono red, making it into the top 8. And Steven Dykman with maybe our first black-green player in.
Jadine goes to activate the Abbey. Dykman uses Walking Ballista to shoot that down before damage, puts 2 more counters on the Ballista. Jadine down to 4.
Another player we know in, Michael Hamilton at 8-0. He was 11 and 1, almost missed from there, but he actually won his match to make it in. So Dykman will be in the top 8 here with black-green energy. He picks up the win over Jadine Klomparens, and he'll be headed to the elimination rounds. Congratulations to him.